York City, and we are back keeping it local in Rhode Island, and we are kicking it off with Gooseneck Vineyards. Paul, Fede, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Of course. So we're bringing some wines to the table, and I'm very happy to be able to taste some today, so get ready to pour.
Absolutely.
But before we get to that, I'll take it slow.
All right.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and your background and experience in the world of wine.
Yeah, so growing up in Rhode Island, went to school up in Woonsocket at Mount St. Charles, played hockey and baseball up there, and it's Rhode Island, you know, it's just...
Yeah, oh, we know. We know what Rhode Island is like.
It's local, and it's so funny. I describe our company as a locally international company.
Locally international?
Locally international, yes.
Locally loved, internationally known.
Exactly, exactly. Bringing terroir from 7 different countries here to Rhode Island underneath a unifying label.
Yes. So how did you get started in the wine industry? What brought you to it, and how did you get to where you are today?
Nice. I grew up in the wine industry, actually.
Okay.
My family, after World War II, and my grandfather and his brother came back from the war, they opened up a retail shop right here in Providence. And so growing up in the household, making wine in the basement with my grandfather, I was always surrounded by it.
Wow. You kind of had your hand in it from the very beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, you know, to this day, my uncle and my father still run the retail shop down in North Kingstown now. They changed locations. And so, obviously, out of college, I was spent some time there, sweeping parking lots when I was a little kid, and you know, doing everything.
You changed jobs over the years.
Exactly, exactly. But you know, being able to work at the store, I was fortunate because you're able to study and watch how consumers purchase wine.
Absolutely.
You know, what makes them pick it up off the shelf.
All you have to do is be observant.
That's it,
kind of
right?
take into consideration, what are they buying? What are they interested in?
Exactly.
You know, when you pick up a bottle and you're looking at it, what is it that's drawing them to it? So.
Yeah, what's generating that emotional response in the last 3 feet of purchase that makes that consumer extend their arm and pick up your bottle as opposed to somebody else's?
Really?
You
So
know.
you're able to kind of take into consideration all of those little fine details and really wrap that up and use it to your advantage when you started Gooseneck. So tell me a little bit about how you launched, what your vision was for Gooseneck.
Well, my vision has a partner associated with it.
Okay,
and I
so
wouldn't
tell
be
me.
here if it wasn't for her. Her name is Liana. And it's so funny because she is my antithesis. You know, if you know, she's black and white. I'm live in the gray area. I'm in sales, you know.
Yes.
I get to tell the stories. I get to pour the wine.
Yeah.
You know. She makes sure I have that opportunity to do that. And so it's a wonderful partnership, you know.
You guys work well together. Good.
Yeah, we want to kill each other just about the same amount. Yeah. Yeah, and so I lost track. What is your question again?
My question was how you came to start Gooseneck and what your vision was for it.
Yeah, so it was funny. I was with my best friend who we grew up in Johnston, Rhode Island, and he had a pair of these pink khaki pants. And he was a Boston College hockey player, and we're standing at his beach club, and he's wearing these pants, and sweat is pouring off him as his belly's hanging over his pants because he's out of shape at this age.
What a sight to be seen.
It really was.
It
Totally was. And then, you know, I asked him, I go, Anthony, where did you get those pants? And he goes, my wife bought them for me. But he goes, I bought the shirt, and he pointed to a whale on his shirt. I looked around the rest of the beach club. All the women, their children were dressed in this, you know, inviting colors. You know, the pastel colors. Exactly, the patterns. Every girl had a pair of white jeans on or a Lily Pulitzer dress. And so I said to myself, how do I capture the sense of place onto a wine label? You know, can I deliver good quality wine that over-delivers for the price point so that customer not only picks us up off the shelf, but they come back for that second and third purchase?
Absolutely.
And lastly, can I develop a team around us to tell the story as many times as humanly possible? And we could have a brand.
Good. So that's how Gooseneck was born.
Yes.
Wow. And the packaging is definitely very beautiful, and we can see how it's very appealing to customers, and it gives you that sense of bright summer in Newport or something along those lines.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You want to be sitting down on a beach chair and definitely having a glass.
Yeah, anytime anybody asks what goes with your wine, we say beach chair.
Yeah,
beach.
That's the best pairing that you can have with your wine.
Yep, definitely.
So tell me a little bit about how you're sourcing all of the wines, the varietals, where they're coming from, and a little bit of your travel.
Absolutely. So we produce right now out of 7 countries around the world, and we produce 9 varietals. It's funny, I say my mom wanted grandkids. Instead, she got a Prosecco, a Pinot Grigio, a Pinot Noir.
Those are the 3 grandkids, and I don't think that she's upset about it.
Well, there's 9 of them, you know. We only have 2 right here. Our New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, because Marlborough is such a great appellation right now for Sauvignon Blanc, a lot of pink and white grapefruit notes, and consumers are just going crazy over anything from New Zealand.
Yes.
And we also have our Spanish Rosé from a small little town. It's so cute. name of the town is San Martin in the northern part of Spain. There's 250 people for this town.
Oh my gosh.
There is one restaurant in this town.
That restaurant must be busy all the time.
It's so funny for lunch. Like, we had to be specific on how many people were in our party to be seated for lunch serving.
Yes.
But anyways, the owner of our rosé vineyard is actually the mayor of the town.
Okay.
Been in his family, this vineyard, for 6 generations.
Wow.
So we're pretty fortunate to have great relationships, like I mentioned, over 7 countries around the world.
So what other countries? You said Spain, New Zealand. Where are you traveling? Because I'm assuming you have to go to all of these countries to visit the winemakers and really test everything. Lots of drinking wine while you're there.
Absolutely.
Where are you going?
Where are we going?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to Italy for one, for Prosecco and Pinot
course.
Grigio. And we have a small artisanal project we worked on over the summer, which is our Brut Rosé, which can be found throughout some retail shops in Rhode Island.
Wow.
And from Italy, we go to France, where we just found a beautiful Chardonnay, beautiful property we fell in love with, and in the south of France. Absolutely gorgeous. The wine is spectacular. And then from there, we go to Portugal. Tremendous value in Portuguese wines.
Yes, definitely.
You know, they just don't market themselves overly well with their labels. And so underneath our, I'd say, American-style label, we resonate with a lot of consumers, and they recognize it. They're like, "Oh, wow, this is pretty good."
Yeah.
And then they find out later, "Oh, it's Portuguese." Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Once
Cool
you get
little
a
red
taste.
blend.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. That's all you really need for it.
Yeah, and then we go to Oregon for Pinot Noir. So we typically go to those areas where those varietals do the best.
Yeah.
And like we found this little small garage winery in Elkton, Oregon, which is adjacent to the Willamette Valley. Not to sound too geeky, but there's such a great microclimate that there's a reason why grapes grow well where they grow. And this place has everything going for it. And we just scored 90 points by the Wine Enthusiast.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, for a small local company here in Rhode Island to get our first national press like that, it was definitely exciting.
Yeah, well, Rhode Island does big things. You're going to 7 countries. You really have something to show for it.
Yes.
And you're able to, and by doing this, you're able to kind of cherry pick the best varietals. You're able to get the best grapes from different parts of the world and put it together under a product that
We
you
do
love.
the hard work.
Yeah.
You know, I work for a California winery, and we did this on a micro level. So we searched all over Sonoma County for Chardonnay, for Sauvignon Blanc, for Cabernet, for Zinfandel. Here at Gooseneck, we're doing it on a macro level.
Yeah.
So we get to use the entire globe as opposed to one small county in California.
Yeah.
So.
The world really is your oyster, or maybe you could say it's your vineyard, whatever you want to say.
Whatever you want to say, but oysters do go with our Sauvignon Blanc, actually.
So what am I tasting? Let me get a little something to wet my whistle.
There we go. So I'm going to pour our 2018. So this was just bottled a couple months ago. And this was the Spanish rosé I was telling you about. It's 100% Grenache, beautiful color.
Oh my God,
Vanilla.
it's lovely.
It's summer in a bottle.
Lovely. And you know, I'm a big fan of rosé, but I don't like it when it's too sweet. That's a big turnoff. This is perfectly just balanced and crisp enough that, you know, you're getting all the benefits of having
You are, and that's a great point because our wines are so approachable. And they're just, well balanced. They're food friendly, they're conversational friendly, and they're beach friendly.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what you think pairs well with this rosé. In terms of food, I know a beach chair is the best pairing, but what kind of dish would you eat with this? Like if I bought it and took it home for dinner, what should I make?
What you can make, I mean, it's rosé, so it goes well with a large range of dishes. But, you know, to get specific, maybe, you know, some goat cheese on a toastette with some honey drizzled on top. Or just as simple as it sounds, like a plate of strawberries.
Yes.
You know, coming back from the beach, the smell of suntan lotion, perfuming from the skin, you know,
my
sitting on a
gosh.
picnic, you know, sitting on a
You're giving me
a
like
table.
a too real of a picture here, and it's
That's the sales side of
sounds
it.
so good.
Thank you.
Yes. So we have Easter coming up.
Yeah.
We're all going to want to have some nice wine with Easter dinner. What kind of wines would you recommend, and what would we be eating them with?
Gotcha. Well, you need Prosecco with Easter to start,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Before you
into
even
that.
get
I
to
like
the
that.
food and the meal, you need
Start
a Prosecco.
off with Prosecco.
Yeah, our Prosecco is fantastic because we don't use as much sugar in our dosage like a lot of the competition does.
Okay.
It's still artisanally crafted. I always say it's like the Caserta's pizza of Prosecco.
I'm
Not
sold.
you know, not the mass-produced Domino's pizzas of the
No,
world.
no.
This is artisanal. Yeah, and you know the dosage, the sugar level that we squirt into the bottle after the secondary fermentation, we don't use a lot of it.
Wow.
And so it's again going back to being well balanced, elegant, It's beautiful. And it's a great way to start Easter.
Definitely. So noted. Start Easter.
Start
with
Easter.
Prosecco.
Yep.
Okay. So what are we on to next?
On to next. You could go to Rosé, but I would do Sauvignon Blanc next.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
It's going to pair pretty nicely with everything that's going to be on the table.
Exactly. There'll be a nice acidity, especially if it's from Marlborough, New Zealand. You're going to get that nice acid and minerality from it, but you're also going to get a lot of pink and white grapefruit notes that will marry nicely with a lot of appetizers. You know, and from there you could transition to something medium-bodied like our Pinot Noir from Oregon, which would work well with, you know, lighter proteins to darker proteins on the table. So it's very versatile.
Something nice and bright for spring. Sounds like both of these would be just right for it.
It would.
Definitely.
It would.
So you are sold locally in Rhode Island.
We are, and I asked your viewers to, you know, go out to retail shops and ask for it by name. I'm not going to say anybody specifically because we should be everywhere, and we're not there yet.
Find you.
But tell you what, go ask your local retailer, and they could definitely bring us in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, restaurants.
Restaurants, well.
Where can we find you? So when I'm having a nice dinner and I would like a beautiful glass of rosé, or you know any of your varietals, where can we find you so that we can keep that in mind?
All right. If you live in the northern part of the state, you could go to Blackie's Bulldog Tavern. Great food.
You already know.
Great people.
We love Blackie's.
It's again, and only in Rhode Island.
Yes, it really is.
Yep. And then if you're in the middle part of the state, the Shanty uses our Sauvignon Blanc by the glass. They just had a menu change. Stop in to see them. And they actually use our rosé for their winter sangria.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
Lovely.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then in the southern part of the state, Back 40.
Great, yeah.
Great food, great wine program now that they have Gooseneck in it.
Yes. Now we can say that.
Yeah, and if you're in Newport, you know, you can stop by the Clark Cookhouse for a glass of Prosecco.
Awesome.
You know?
So where can we find a full list about where you sold in retailers or anything along those lines that we can make sure that we can find you?
Yeah, our website has all that information on it.
Perfect. And where can we find you online?
GooseneckVineyards.com. Yep.
Perfect. So we can now know that we can grab some for Easter for the dinner table, or we can sit down at a restaurant in your neighborhood and make sure that you're completing your meal with a nice glass of wine.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us
for
today.
having
and
us.
Thanks
We
for the
appreciate
taste
it.
of rosé.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Don't go anywhere. We have Jim Nellis talking RI Food Fights events and Burger Month coming right up.